to another edition of Tampa Bay Insiders, where you get a good glimpse of some of the movers and shakers in town. I'm Louise Thompson, the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, and with me today is Sidney Morgan, who is the President of the Central Florida region of Humana. Is that correct?
That's right.
That's correct. Welcome. I'm glad you could be here with us today.
Thanks, Louise. Thanks.
You've been pretty involved in our community, and I'm going to go backwards first and talk about that, and then ask you what some of your responsibilities are today. So where'd you get started? You were not one of the natives, right?
I'm not a native Tampan.
You're like the regular rest of us.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. I was born and raised in Southern Illinois, and grew up on a soybean and Angus cattle farm, right where the Mississippi and the Ohio River come together in Southern Illinois.
It sounds like already you could run for office.
Does it?
Soybean and
I will tell you right now that that is absolutely positively not in the plans ever. So
Okay, all right,
that's
all right.
yeah, I'll say that.
Soybean farm. Okay, I've
Absolutely.
never heard that before.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you grew up there.
I did.
Big
And-
family?
Huge family. Well, now I've learned that it was a big family, but then it wasn't. So there's 11 kids, and there was a total of 13 of us. So
My
yeah.
goodness.
So there's
What placement are you in that?
I'm the youngest. I am the youngest.
How many boys and girls?
There's 8 boys living and 3 girls living.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So you were the one best cared for all that, huh? Or spoiled to tears or something? No.
You know, I was. Actually, I'll tell you, not spoiled, definitely not spoiled to tears, because I don't think you can grow up on a farm and be spoiled, because, you know, everybody works. But I certainly got a glimpse of the outside world. My town, Pulaski, Illinois, only has about, well, you know, I'm going to say 300, but I think the last time I looked at the sign, it was 238 people in it, and so it's
An
hard.
incorporated town with that, just a few people? Or
It's a town. It's called the village, actually, of Pulaski. Yeah.
wow. And so you got off the farm and went to school somewhere other than
I did actually.
little town.
Actually, I tell you, I'll take you through school. When I would drive up and down the field on my tractor, doing whatever it was time for me to do with our
Were you
crops.
4? Don't tell me. No.
No, but I wasn't 4. But I tell you that the rule was, the moment you were tall enough where you could push the clutch in on the tractor far enough to engage the gear, you started driving. So at, I can't tell you exactly what age that
8,
was.
9, 10,
but
something?
definitely by age 10, I was driving down the road with huge farm equipment being pulled behind a pretty big tractor.
My
It's and everyone did it. So it certainly wasn't something that was unique to the Morgans. Everyone did it where I was from. So kind of scary now when you think about it. And for some reason, they actually let you drive down the road. So.
Yeah.
Not
I've
just
read that about Florida too, where
Okay.
that was true in Florida too, because it's all agricultural.
Yeah. So you couldn't drive a car, but you could drive, you know, $130,000 worth of equipment that took up the whole road, and you had to back it up like a semi truck. So I've never understood that, but that's.
I'll bet he could be our backup driver on our remote production truck.
I could definitely.
I bet he could do it.
I could do.
If we ever get in trouble, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be calling you. But
Okay.
all right. So tell me why you decided to get off the farm and or go to college outside of there.
Well, you know, at the time, that was just the plan, to get the heck out of that little small town. It's funny because today I think about, you know, how great it would be to be back there and have that life. But I joined the Navy, and so I served in the Navy for 4 years. And while I was in the Navy, I had this great job in the Navy where I could get up in the morning and go assist outpatient dermatological surgeries. We would start at about 4:30 in the morning. We'd pretty much be done at 11:30, and I'd throw my clothes in the car, and I went to a couple of schools, but I graduated from a school called National University out in California, and that's how I paid my way through school.
You were stationed out in.
I was stationed in San Diego and then in Long Beach, California.
Not bad places to be stationed, though, I might say.
Absolutely.
And you
not.
probably took a little, like, side road over there, maybe to the beach or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
all
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So you did that. So
Absolutely.
what did you study?
Accounting. Yeah,
Okay.
Financial accounting. Yeah, I've never used it, and I don't want to use it.
So you had some medical background
Yes.
in the Navy.
Right.
What, like an aide or a,
It was
sort of like a,
it's a
sounds like
medic. It's a medic, of
okay,
course. You
position.
know, the Marine Corps is a part of the Navy, and so when you're watching a war movie and you hear the Marine scream "Corpsman," well, that's me. And
Okay.
you know, you run out and get the Marine and take care of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
know that when I joined, by the way. I didn't know that by joining the Navy I could end up being with the Marine Corps. I figured that out afterwards, but it was the Marines.
So you did that the whole time, pretty much, or different other jobs?
I was fortunate in that I wasn't stationed in a fleet role. So of course everyone is trained to go to war, but since I wasn't stationed in a fleet billet, I only had to go do that every once in a while. So I had this great role where I literally worked in a hospital for most of the 4 years that I was in the military, and most of the time I was done with that job by midday, which is what allowed me to go to school.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got an accounting degree, and then when you got out of the Navy, what'd you do?
I actually, when it was time for me to get out of the Navy, I was thinking that I might want to become a pilot. And I got all of the prereqs done to do that. I met my wife, and having served in the military, we knew that we probably didn't want to start a family in the military. And you know, just kind of a shout out to all those military families that do that. It's an incredible thing that I think unless you've served in the military, you really don't realize what a sacrifice that is. We chose not to make that sacrifice, so I got out of the military. Shelley, by the way, was in the military. That's how I met her. And
Navy too?
In the Navy. And I got my first job with a carrier that had won what at the time we called the Campus Reform Initiative, but now we call it TRICARE, and it's
Campus, I remember that,
Yeah.
those words, yeah.
And it's basically the civilian health program for the military services. And so I got my first job implementing that program back in 1988 or 89.
And in California, or
In
were you
California,
elsewhere?
in California. I did that for a couple of years, and then Shelley was stationed in Hawaii, and so like a dutiful dependent husband, which is what you're
Who
called in the
wouldn't
military.
really want her to be in Hawaii without you?
You know, that's right, that's right. So
You were forced?
I was forced to go to Hawaii with
Poor
her.
thing, I get to see it now.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience there, and we had a great time. And so when she got out of the military, we came on back to Northern California, and my healthcare career with health insurance companies just kind of progressed.
Were you still working in healthcare in Hawaii? Or,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And your responsibility is the same with military families or other?
It was actually the same responsibility, and Hawaii was just a different region. But I'm actually for most of my healthcare career, I've been an ops guy. I've been running the back office where the claims get paid and you answer the phones, et cetera.
You're using the abbreviation, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, operations.
Oh, okay.
I actually run the internal operations, and I have only been in kind of this general manager role, maybe three years now, and where my team is responsible for the breadth of the health plan.
So what did you do when you got back into Illinois?
Well, when we left Hawaii, we actually went to California, and Northern California, and I took an ops role with a carrier there, and this is kind of like a rerun for me. That carrier was purchased, so at that time, a lot of health insurance companies were consolidating, and so we then went to Texas, and I worked at a carrier in Texas, and that carrier was purchased, and that was my first stint.
Sounds like the history of the cable companies, right? They were little mom and pop outfits, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and bigger companies got involved with them.
That's
okay.
That's fair. And so then I went to Humana for the first time. And I took a job in San Antonio, and running the San Antonio operation. And you know, the funny thing is, at the time, Shelley and I wanted to come to Florida. But the person who was hiring me at Humana said, Sid, you know, that operation is a little big for you. We're going to send you to our San Antonio operation. And so Shelley and I went to San Antonio. We love San Antonio, by the way. And we were there, I think, for like 10 months. And we get the call, well, you know what? We think we'd like for you to go to Florida, Jacksonville. And so we packed up and we went to Jacksonville. And
That's the headquarters of...
it's actually, no, the
No,
headquarters.
that was Humana.
Yeah.
The headquarters for Blue Cross, right?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. And so we went to Humana. We loved Humana, and unfortunately, Humana went through some consolidations, and we had a choice, and that was stay with Humana and move to Louisville, or we would need to, go ahead and go find something else. And I actually wanted to go to Louisville. But my wife, and she was right, you know, looking back on it at the time, it was really painful. But
She said Kentucky?
well, more than
No.
that, she said the kids, we can't move the kids. And so we didn't want to move our children. So I left Humana for about 5 years and worked at a carrier in Jacksonville. And then during that time, I was able to move to Tampa. And the moment I had an opportunity to get back with Humana, I took it.
And you've been back, what, 2 years about? No, what?
About a year and a half. About a year
Okay.
and a half. Yeah, it's been an incredible experience. And you know, the thing that I say about Humana is that with most companies, they do all this marketing and branding, and maybe with most companies, they may not be quite as good as what their marketing and branding says. With Humana, I actually ding us and say we are much better than what our branding says.
Tell me about your responsibilities with Humana. What do you...
Humana runs its health plans like franchises. And so there's about 26 of these standalone health plans around the country. And
Are they specific to a market?
they're
or...
specific to a market,
Okay.
and my market is Central Florida. And just a rough geographic footprint is from Citrus County in the north down to Collier in the south, and then from Pinellas on the west coast to Volusia on the east coast of Florida. And there's basically 25 counties in there. And my team, our responsibility is to run the plan, and we have enabling organizations like provider networking, and we have customer service, and we have marketing, and we have sales, and we just get it done every day trying to.
How many employees do you have under you?
In the market per se, the executive officers probably, I'll say 80 employees, but in our Central Florida market, we have well over 2,000 employees. So we have an administrative office or an executive office, and then we have a operations center, which is right over here in Net Park, and then we have also a Humana Cares Center, which is over in Caroline.
Where do you see so much in the paper about healthcare today? And that we need to reform it.
Right.
Where do you sit on all that? Do you think we need it reformed, and
Well,
where do you think we should be going?
my personal opinion and the position of Humana is that every American absolutely should have access to affordable, quality health care. And it's actually shameful that that's not available.
Feel like a third world country.
It makes it's ridiculous. And to attack it, you can't avoid costs. The fact is that I believe that in the next 10 years, healthcare is slated to become about 20% of our GDP. Well, that's not going to work. And I think the saddest thing is that this is not new news. The fact that we're having this conversation a lot more now, but is it really new? It isn't.
Well, we've been talking about it for over a decade, for sure.
Exactly. And so Americans, and it's not, I don't want to lay this on our elected officials because, again, it's not a surprise. Americans, we have known for a long time that healthcare costs are rising at a rate that we can't sustain. And so everyone, Americans, all of us have got to understand that we're going to have to make some sacrifices so that everyone can be covered. And all stakeholders need to be at the table. So stakeholders, politicians, carriers, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies. It's one of those things where right now we have this wonderful opportunity to kind of hold hands and decide that we're going to do something right for our country, and we still have time to do it. Or we can take the other road and decide to just continue doing what we've been doing, and our economy is not going to sustain the cost of health care.
What do you think the viewers or regular people who aren't what you're calling stakeholders, but definitely are stakeholders in this whole situation, what should we be doing? I mean, we're screaming, I know that. We're like, do something, do something.
I think,
and that's not working. I feel like I have to have a Boston Tea Party soon or something. I don't know. Throw all the thermometers in the water. I don't know.
Well, I would say that what we have to do is we have to be engaged. We have to demand information. I always tell the story, I don't know if it's true now, but it was true when 3 years ago when I first came to Tampa, I was looking at a report, and it had to do with a certain type of heart surgery. And one surgery, the surgery at one facility was roughly 50% less than the surgery at the other facility. And, like the average American, I assume that the outcomes were going to be better at the facility where it cost the most. Absolutely not true. And that kind of information is available now through third-party sources. And Americans, we've got to stop talking, and everyone needs to take responsibility for knowing. And so we think that transparency is incredibly important.
You are on a bunch of community nonprofit civic boards. Name some of those that you're involved with.
Okay. Healthy Together is one, and it's our goal at Healthy Together to make the healthy choice the easy choice for folks in the Bay Area. And also the Chamber. I am the Tampa, the Greater Tampa Bay Chamber. I am actually slated to be chair-elect for the St. Petersburg area chamber in 2010, and I get to follow. See, this is an example of why it's important to become involved. So I agreed to chair the St. Pete Chamber, and I get to, on many days, watch Steve Raymond lead. And I sit there and I think to myself, okay, Steve built this billion-dollar company from scratch, and it's still going strong today. And just by virtue of me volunteering for the St. Petersburg Chamber, I get to watch him and learn from him. And I don't know if he knows he's being my mentor, but he is. And I just watched him handle a situation the other day. And what would you pay to be able to follow a leader like Steve Raymond around? And I get to do it for a whole year.
Better than just an ordinary education.
Exactly.
So, okay, so you're involved in that. So you're going to be, with being president of the St. Pete Chamber, you're going to be trying to help with economic development during some of the worst times we've ever seen, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, there's your challenge.
Absolutely. Well, the chambers. The Chambers, the Tampa Bay Partnership, and I am on the Council of Governors at the partnership, and they get it. I don't know if it's because of how dire folks are seeing the times now, but they understand that we all have to work together. And I am as optimistic as ever around this thing about bridging the Bay and everyone working together. We were talking about the NAACP earlier. The president of the St. Petersburg Chamber of Commerce was at the NAACP celebration here in Tampa.
Well, that's good. They've been trying to build this bridging effect for a long time, and it is true that the bridge is in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just let's bridge the bridge.
Right.
I don't know how you're going to do that because there's still 9 miles going across there, and that's the difficult thing. And plus, there is some as a former Board of Governor on the Tampa, Greater Tampa Chamber, let me just say there's still competitiveness between them. When it comes down to it, yeah, we'll work together on this, but if I can get that team and you don't,
Right.
good.
Right.
But, you know, that's going to,
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well,
I
you
mean,
know-
I appreciate that you're trying to do that, and I was there when they created the partnership thing. But
Yeah,
you know.
I would not dispute that at all. I would
Yeah.
just tell you that.
But yeah, we should all work together, get them down here, and then
That's right. There
what's
you
the,
go.
what's the saying? All's fair in love and war, and economic development, I
That's
guess,
right,
too.
that's right,
yeah?
that's right.
So when it comes down to it, yeah, okay, that's what we're going to do. But you're on some other boards too. You're right here at the University of Tampa Board of Trustees. I used to be on the Board of
That's right,
Fellows
that's
for
right.
the
Great,
for
great,
UT.
great board. And President Ronald Vaughn is probably the most hidden asset in terms of people in this community.
Look at what he's done to this place. It's just unbelievable.
Incredible. And if you haven't been on the campus, which I'm sure you have been, but
You're on it right now. We're in this.
well.
He's our They're our landlord.
Oh, I didn't know
University of Tampa.
that.
Of
I didn't know
course.
that. I
Yes.
actually thought it stopped right at the road there.
Oh
But-
no. And now they've
Excellent.
got Valencia Gardens too, but no.
I got that.
No, you got that? No, they've got the softball field on the other side of us.
Okay, okay,
We're
I
hooked
didn't
up
know
with the
that.
athletic building. It's been here, the public access station's been here for over 25 years. And
Okay.
it was, one of the people that pushed for it was University of Tampa professor of communications or journalism, and had been in on the initial trying to give the public a voice.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
great,
yeah, there was a
great.
bunch of people worked together to get it here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. UT is an incredible resource, and they are. They had President Sirleaf from Liberia here.
I heard. How does
about
somebody get
about
the
a month-
president of Liberia as a commencement speaker? That's unbelievable.
I won't go into the details.
I
I'll just tell
heard.
you that it was
I already
incredible.
heard. Yeah, okay, that's something. So what are the other community groups that you're involved in? You've got a couple more, don't you?
American Heart Association. And actually, Shelley and I did that together, and we're kind of winding that down right now. We have a couple more events.
I had you on a show on the Black Heritage Festival as well, wasn't it?
We had limited participation in Black Heritage, so we probably will participate more this upcoming year, and that's an incredible couple of weeks here in the city as well. But a lot of different boards, a lot of different activities that we're doing.
Why?
Yeah, you know, this is how it started. Okay, I came to town, and I was always raised not to, don't complicate things. If you see something that's working, just replicate what you see is working. That's also part of my operations background. And when I first came to town, I was running a business, and I was trying to figure out how to make the business successful. So what I decided to do was find some successful people and model them. And so I literally picked some folks, Real Law, they may not know this, Real Law, Judy Ginshaft, Roy McCraw, and Fred McClure, I just saw what they were doing, and I started to model that behavior.
They got involved.
Yep.
Tremendously involved.
Yes.
You know, it's easy to do here, too. People may think that it's a hard thing to do to get on a board or do whatever and get involved, but really, they welcome you enormously, and whatever your talent is, they probably need it on that board, whether you're somebody who can raise money or throw a fashion show or
Right. Right.
you're a lawyer and they need help with legal matters and accountants and so forth. We have so many different people. We're winding down on this, but I know that you've just given us all advice about watching out for our health care. But overall, what do you think about this area, economic crisis, Tampa itself, or, the Bay Area? What do we need to be doing that's would just get more involved, or in different
I think,
things,
well,
or is there some?
certainly getting more involved is really, it's kind of our duty. We all live here. We're all enjoying the things that the Bay Area provides for us. So we should chip in and help make those things continue for our children. I have been telling folks that right now, I think the best thing about this time is that it's making people remember what's important, because a lot of the things that aren't important people have lost, or at least you've lost about 45% of what isn't important. And so I think, money, our different investments, and even our home values, as you see those things slip away, you have to find solace someplace. And I think a lot of people are finding that with their families, and that just has to be good. So
you're trying to really help us make some lemonade
absolutely
out of this situation.
Absolutely. For people to understand, me included, for everyone, for us to understand that what's really important is family, our health, our family, our children. If that's what comes out of this, then the stress of the last 6 months, a year, well worth it, isn't it?
That would seem to be a really good philosophy that you have with that.
Yeah.
What about the economic development? Do you see, as somebody who's been in the Tampa Chamber and also now headed to the St. Pete Chamber, that maybe if some of the companies up north see that this is an easier place to do business, that they would maybe move down? Would that be more encouraging or less encouraging at this point?
I think that all companies, all organizations are probably a little cautious when it comes to doing something new right now, and just like we are with our personal budgets. So I think that that's just a national phenomenon. But for those companies who are looking to move, I really believe that we were talking about the bridging the Bay. So I really believe from the Greater Tampa Chamber to the St. Pete Chamber to the Clearwater Chamber to the Tampa Bay Partnership, we are able, and really because of a couple of things we've done over the last couple of years, visiting other areas that had this challenge and learning how they grew up and decided, let's be big boys and girls and work together, get it to the area first, then determine exactly what street it's going to go on. So I think the difference is going to be for those companies that are looking to move, we are going to be able to work together better.
Fabulous. Okay. I'm glad you came to visit us, give us your opinions on what's going on, and share yourself with our audience here.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Come back next time and see us again. Thank you for tuning in.